Sarah Ramos, City Girl, you found some scripts that you wrote as a 12-year-old girl. Tell us what it was like dusting them off and what your first thought was when you were reading through those words you wrote about 15 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, in like 2003, now it's 2017, so a minute ago. Yeah. I was actually looking in my childhood bedroom for a different script that I remembered writing, which was a soap opera about a small town where this one guy was like kind of a dick to everybody, and then he gets killed and everybody kind of has a motive. And I found like 2 pages from that, and it's like him giving bad tips to people or something. And so that's what I was looking for. And I was really surprised when I found like a 50-page screenplay called City Girl, which was bizarrely about a 28-year-old woman who gets headaches and runs a furniture store and has to go see her doctor. I was really like, I like vaguely remembered writing that. I remembered writing like a rom-com-esque script for Reese Witherspoon, but I completely forgot the entire contents of the plot and all of that. So I don't know where any of that came from.
Yeah. Well, takes into the mind of that sort of 12-year-old girl. Like, were you someone with an active imagination as a child? When did you find time to do a 50-page screenplay?
Yeah, so I was a child actor. I've been working in TV since I was 10, and I was obsessed with the writer's room and the production office on the show that I was on, which is called American Dreamz, and it was on NBC. And I lived in Orange County, and we shot in LA. So my mom and I would sometimes have to avoid traffic, like if we got off during rush hour. And so I would just go to the production office and use the writer's assistant's final draft on their computer and write this screenplay, basically.
So as a grown woman reading the script you wrote as a child, what did you think sort of putting your critical goggles on, what did you think was the best sort of like part of your writing? And what do you think was the thing that maybe needed the most work, the most tweaking?
Right. Well, just to be clear, like when I found the script, which was a printed out, like final draft, formatted and everything, there were some like red pen marks on it. But so I had made an attempt at revising that I kind of like gave up on. And it was like, different name for this guy, like no real, I was like, everything else is good. It's just like some minor tweaks. So when I read it, I felt like, I think what came through most clearly and that I kind of remembered and was that I really wanted to be an adult. And the characters, this is not a script written for children. This is very much like a romantic comedy set in Manhattan. I had never been to Manhattan. I'm from Orange County, California. It's about a woman who gets migraines and they're interfering with her life and she's just too busy. And she, just the social dynamics, like the lack of, it's such a funny combination of knowing from probably watching pop culture what adults act like in movies, but not really understanding what they're trying to get at. Like, so she'll go in and have a conversation with her doctor and then ask him to go to lunch with her because she's not comfortable with him yet. And he's like, yeah, I do that all the time. Great. Tomorrow? And it's like a lack of logic that is really the most amazing part about the script, in my opinion, but probably what would also need the most work if I were looking. If an adult had read the script at the time, which they literally didn't, nobody read it until like this year, they probably would have been like, Sarah, like when you go to the doctor, do you immediately get in? Like, does the receptionist offer you chocolates? Like, no, yes or no. And try to put some realism into it. But I think it's better that it doesn't have, that it's like this uncanny valley situation.
And it's like, is interesting because in television, even though things aren't exactly like they are in City Girl and as perfect in City Girl, things often do just work out just the way they're supposed to for the characters in TV. Like it is a nice little meta nod to like, you know, you don't, when you're watching TV shows, spend 20 minutes in a waiting room.
Yes, that's true. I think it's like, I write now and I feel like you're always trying to make the character active and make like the things, make things happen as a result of something the character does. And that doesn't really exist in City Girl. Like I kind of had to move some scenes around in the editing process because there was just no real narrative structure in the script. It was just like, this scene happens with these characters and then this scene happens. So we had to amp up the drama a little bit.
Yeah. What prompted you to, when you were looking at that, to go, hey, let's make this?
Well, pretty immediately upon reading it, I was like, we have to make this, because I was just like laughing hysterically at the matter of fact writing, like at the idea of professional actors saying the bizarre dialogue that was an attempt to be like human dialogue. The idea just seemed so fun and funny to me, and I pretty much immediately was like, we just have to do this. I have a bunch of funny actor friends, like we got to do it.
What was the biggest challenge in making it?
The biggest challenge was probably that people were not, I don't think they understood that the tone. Like, I think people were like, oh, that's cute, but if you want to be a writer director, like, why don't you do something that's actually going to move the needle? This is not really going to be worth your time and effort. And so it was hard to find somebody, a company, to invest in this that was like, no, this is funny and we should make this purely because it's so weird. And I found Super Deluxe, and they're like this original online company that makes like really unique, weird, humorous videos, and they were just like, yeah, let's do it. And so I really didn't have any expectation making it. I was just like, we're doing this for fun. That's what's happening. We're honoring my vision from when I was 12. Like, that would have been a dream come true to have the script made. Let's dress me like I would have wanted to be dressed then. Let's decorate the house like I would have imagined it being decorated, and let's just do it. And we ended up getting a really surprising, strong, positive reaction from the world.
Yep. Did you reach out to Reese Witherspoon to be in?
We reached out to Reese Witherspoon after the fact because, again, I was not expecting anyone to really care. Like, I was really surprised, like, the day after City Girl came out, I like got a call from NPR Weekend Edition. They were like, we want to do a story on this. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I can't believe that. So I wasn't expecting that. I did not shoot for Reese, but we did try to reach out to her we did a For Your Consideration event live read. And we got some really great people that I was obsessed with at the time, and people from now. So we tried to get Reese for that. I don't know what's going on with her, but I think she would like it if she heard about it.
Yeah. Like, I guess that's maybe why you stopped the editing when you were a child too. You're like, oh, Reese's people, they're not getting back to me. I'm not sure if it's ever going to happen. What?
Yeah. I don't know. I was very, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's like, I think I just maybe got bored with it. I really would have loved to see where it went.
Yeah, the editing process is a slog. Like, that's what.
Yeah.
What do you
Definitely.
think? What's been the like? Who's responded to this particularly? Like, have you had anyone interesting respond really well to this sort of series?
I've had a lot of people reach out to me who I know who I just wasn't expecting to hear from. I don't know, friends of mine and friends of friends, like Jack Antonoff from the band Bleachers told me he loved it, and Lord loved it. Like, I will just go to a party and people will be like, "Oh my God, I loved your thing that you made." Like, took me back. And I'm like, oh, this is so funny. And it just makes so much sense that it would be the thing that I was just like, I'm just going to make this for myself. And I don't care what happens, that people would actually respond to.
Yeah. And you're competing in the Emmys in sort of the short format web based sort of categories. What would it mean if you got nominations in some of those categories?
I think it would be amazing. It would be I just can't imagine being able to think like, oh my gosh, if only I could have told myself as a 12-year-old, like, you should keep at it. Like, don't worry. Your creativity and your output matters. People will respond to it. And not that, awards count for, like, not that that's your source of validation, like, especially for children. I kind of feel like if I had gotten, like, the acceptance that I had gotten, that I'm getting for it now, I probably would have turned into, like, one of the, like, just a prima donna child. I'm kind of joking. But it would just be, I think it would be really nice because it would be a celebration of this thing that I did really joyfully and as a celebration of pure creativity. And kind of a way I've started to look at it in hindsight is that, all we see artists now in, like, multiple fields, in TV, movies, music, etc. And we see them, we tend to hear about them once they've made this, a masterpiece or something that's very sophisticated. And what City Girl kind of made me think about was that they all had to start somewhere, and their first forays into their chosen fields are probably going to be a little bit clumsy and awkward and confused. And we should, like, kind of demystify the artist's process by looking at that. And I think it would make it seem less impossible. It would to go into a creative field.
From a young girl working as an actress in 2003 to who you are now in 2017, what's the one thing you've learnt the most in that time?
Yeah, I think I've learned that I'm not really somebody who is going to take shortcuts. And the long road is something to get comfortable with. And you should you should definitely stay true to what you want and not do something because other people say you shouldn't do it. You should believe in what you think is funny and what you think is interesting and follow that.
What's next from you? Do you have any other screenplays maybe hiding around in garages or basements that we can expect?
Well, first of all, there's, another half of this script that we haven't produced yet. So there's that. And I've also been kind of looking around for other creative people who I know now who have their own screenplays that they wrote when they were kids. And there are a few of them, and they're pretty amazing.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be
it's really fun because people, like, when they are talking about stuff that they wrote as a kid, there's like a different energy to it than, like, it's less serious and self-serious, and it's more, there's like this excitement that comes out, and you don't have to like judge it and be like, well, was this, like, you know, my best artistic like expression? And you just kind of get to go back to what motivated you to start doing this in the first place.
Yeah, it's like an honesty before, like, I don't know, we get older and overthink everything.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some of the stuff that I've read is like people, there are seeds of what they write now in what they wrote then. Like very primitive seeds of it, but you can see it's something that they're interested in, and they continue to develop that as they get older. And that was just the beginning of it. And it's like, I feel like even when you look back, it's really easy to forget and be like, oh my God, no, I've always been like, so talented and really successful. And it's funny to look back and be like, oh, huh. I didn't exactly get it, but I was fascinated by something and I followed that.
Do you think, what's the biggest difference with doing like a short, I imagine on a very tight shoestring, like web series, and doing a show like Parenthood for NBC?
Yeah. I've done a couple NBC shows, Parenthood. I'm on this new one called Midnight Texas. It's coming out in July. And they're really big productions. Part of it, which we kind of experienced a little bit with City Girl and working with Superlux, is like there is a lot on the line. Like you need to follow legal guidelines so that you don't get sued. Like there was a line in City Girl that Casey like walks into the doctor's office and she's like, I love Entertainment Weekly. Like, oh my God. And we like cut to a shot of Entertainment Weekly, and we couldn't use the shot of Entertainment Weekly because we don't have the rights to that. And that on like a big NBC production is like times 10. That's why, like, when you look at teenagers' bedrooms on like shows on TV, it's like kind of looks right, but it's like everything's tweaked a little bit so that they have the rights to it.
Well, if you ever want to mention Gold Derby or cut to Gold Derby in your in the next couple of episodes, feel free.
Oh my gosh, amazing! Thank you.
Yeah, you got McDonald's.
You have a In-N-Out cup behind.
So I'll probably be getting in trouble from them. Yeah, but yeah, no. So, what about you're a big In-N-Out fan, I imagine, right?
I'm what? In-N-Out fan?
Do you like In-N-Out? Yeah.
Of course, I'm from Southern California.
Yeah, it's the place to go. I took that back with me last time I was there. Mm-hmm. What you were able to get McDonald's for the show?
We got McDonald's. Oh my God, that was so stressful. I was so stressed about that. I was like, if we don't get McDonald's, what's even the point of doing this? And Super Deluxe, they worked it out with their business affairs that I think it was just okay because it is a comedy. Like, you know that law, like the same law that parody law, like
parody.
I'm not sure if it fell under parody law, but maybe it did. I don't know, because we were certainly like parodying a little. I mean, we weren't exactly parodying it. We were kind of taking it so literally that it felt funny because my life in 2003, like now, if I like, if me from 2003 like was walking around in 2017, like it would be bizarre.
Yeah.
It would be like a fish out of water situation. So we got McDonald's and I thought it was amazing. And did you know that McDonald's has like 2 flags? I'm not sure if outside of America, they obviously don't have the American flag, but they have a McDonald's flag.
Yeah, they got a bit like you cut to it. It's like the opening like shot of the McDonald's thing is the big flag they got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you last question. If 12-year-old you watched City Girl, what do you think she would say about it?
I mean, I think she would be like amazed, like so happy to know that her work could be realized. It's funny because I wonder like what, you know, when I feel like now I can say that and I can say, you know, the deepest part of 12-year-old me is like, this is my dream come true, amazing. But the reality usually tends to be like, if you saw something that you just wrote, you'd probably be like, oh God, I should have changed that exchange about Eminem. Like, oh my God, why did I write that? You know, a little bit of self-criticism. But I can read it now and be like, I don't know. It's just the most bizarre, entertaining, and reaffirming production of a screenplay, I feel like.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
Yeah. And like it's hard with 12-year-olds because like they could just go, didn't really love those pillows. Like what's going on with them? Like, so thank you so much for chatting with us, Sarah, about City Girl. All the best for the Emmys and everything in the pipeline and for the next crop of episodes for the series and for other aspiring actors' childhood works.
Oh my God, please, if you guys have scripts that you wrote when you were a kid or you are a kid writing a script, please send it to me.
Okay, I will check. I'll check my drawers.
Okay, thank you.
And my boxes. Okay. See you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye, Matt.
Bye.